What's up, everybody? This is LeRoiStephonDFS, and this is another edition of the Word Around the Chevy in the Parking Lot. Hindsight is 2020. This time for UFC on Fox 19. Before I get into things, I wanted to ask you guys if I've ever helped you win any money or you're just extraordinarily rich. Go ahead and donate in my GoFundMe link from my cartoon. Yeah, I need to get some new laptop software and pay my artist in order to do everything I want to do with the Word in the Chevy Around the Parking Lot cartoon. So donate in the link below. It's down there in the description. But let's get right into things. UFC card last night. I wasn't shocked by anything that happened. Oh, except for one thing. And that's really my biggest disappointment or my biggest regret of the night is that I played Beneil Dariush way too heavy because I thought he had the biggest advantage in his fight. I had him in I made 33 lineups. And, because I wasn't confident in what was going to happen on the card, I just played the high volume and the quarter arcade GPPs, which is what I do on weeks, especially like this one, where you lost most of all the cheap fighters. You lost Dober, you lost Dan Henderson. I knew that was going to dilute people's ownerships. So I played him way too heavy, and man, did it cost me. My best score of the night was 382 points. Let me double check that. It was 382 points. And the team was, let me go through the team real quick. 382.50 points. And the team was John Dodson, Cesar Ferreira, Santiago Ponzinibbio, and Ezekiel Zaleski dos Santos. So Beneil Dariush and dos Santos were my heaviest plays of the night. I really liked their chances to finish and get big scores. And I thought that people in that price range from about $10,000, $9,000 to $10,000 are going to be key to own. And they were the dudes I looked at and said, yeah, they got the biggest advantages in their fights, and they should be pretty safe options. I rostered them real heavy. And Beneil Dariush was probably the difference between me pretty much kind of winning the whole thing and losing. So, not losing, but doing just mediocre. Because if he wins that fight, I'm probably in 4th or 5th place or something like that. Something in the top 20. He lost that fight, and I went down to 771st. So, man, by submission, Beneil Dariush losing by submission, that is unbelievable. That is absolutely unbelievable. I knew he had a big striking edge. I knew he was really good at Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, so even though Michael Chiesa has a hell of a rear naked choke, how's he going to get to it? Or how's he going to finish it against one of the best Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu people in the world? So I just saw every advantage and no disadvantages, and I've just played him real heavy. And him, Glover Teixeira, I really didn't hedge in my Rose Namajunas. There was a few fighters on there I really was confident I know they're going to win. So it's just a matter of do they finish or do they not. And for some reason, I thought Dariush would finish more than I did, or he was safer than Teixeira. Because I thought his opponent was I thought Michael Chiesa was less capable than Rashad Evans. Michael Chiesa is a one-dimensional fighter. Rashad Evans is a former champion who has a full range of skills. He's a great athlete, so I don't regret rostering Beneil Dariush like I did, especially when I saw how big of a striking advantage he had. He almost knocked Chiesa out in that first round. So, it is my biggest regret, and it's not. The thing that I'm happiest about that I did was that I hedged the Oluwalu Bamboshe and Court McGee fights. I really thought that although I thought Court McGee would win because of his pace and relentlessness and the type of way he fights. I thought that would kind of be too much for Ponzinibbio. But I went ahead and hedged it anyway. Like I said, Ponce Bibio was in my best lineup of the night. So I hedged it. I hedged the Aluwalu Bamboche fight because I knew Ferreira is chinny, but he doesn't suck. Like, he's not a bad fighter. Like, if he had a good chin, he would be one of the better fighters in the division because he's got everything you need to be a great fighter. He just doesn't have the chin to be able to hold up and get into any type of, thing where he gets hit in the head, which is unfortunate. But that's a part of being a great champion, is having some natural God-given gifts, and he just doesn't have that. So yeah, that was my biggest disappointment, was Beneil Dariush. My biggest success was Michael Graves, but it wasn't as big a success as it would have been if we would have had a full card. Because Michael Graves was only owned at he was only at 28.7%, but I know if it would have been a full card, he would have been owned at 10 to 15%. So losing Dan Henderson, who would have had a big ownership on him, and losing Drew Dober, who would have had a moderate ownership on him, would have took Michael Graves somewhere down to 15% or something like that, But because of losing those two underdogs, his ownership and that of Court McGee, even, who was owned at 24.4%, those are fighters that, according to what Vegas, because a lot of people go by Vegas odds and stuff like that, like, those are fighters whose ownership usually don't peak above 17-18%. So I didn't like that. That really inflated the scores on the night. There's a lot of Michael Graves people that didn't really believe he was going to win the fight. Of course, if you read my blog, I did pick him to win. I didn't think he would finish. I thought that he would struggle with the size and the athleticism of Randy Brown, which is going to be a problem for people who fight him in the future. He is a super prospect. Like, dude's legs are so long, and he's getting better, but Michael Graves was just a better grappler, so he took that fight. I really thought Raquel Pennington would beat Bethe Correia, but looking at that fight, I don't really know if she did. I thought Bethe Correia won, so I'm glad I hedged the fight in hindsight. But the top of my stack just did not, or my most popular ones did not do well. My only other regret that I had was not putting more John Dodson and Khabib Nurmagomedov together. I didn't know how successful the underdogs would be on the card, so I was like, oh man, if I want to get this money tonight, then I've got to build my rosters around I need probably about 3 or 4 finishes, and I'm not going to possibly get that if I take Nurmagomedov and Dodson. Then I can probably get another one, but how do I get the 4th one for sure? And I liked Bamboche to finish. I liked Namajunas to possibly finish. I liked Teixeira to possibly finish. So I tried to get as many of those big wins on my roster and think people that I believe would win as I could, and stay away from being too top heavy, because I didn't think top heavy would win out. And looking at the scores on the night, top heavy roster construction, read my article, The Art of the MMA Hedge, it did not win out. So I'm looking at the top scores low right now. I think it was Khabib Nurmagomedov was not in it. I believe John Dodson was in it, but Khabib was not. So a top-heavy roster construction with John Dodson and Khabib, it did not take first place last night, which is what I thought pre-fight. So I don't regret too much. That was a hard card for me to try and construct rosters in, at least. But I think I did, for the most part, the right things. I built the right rosters. I had the right hedging strategy, because I saw a lot of the outcomes, the possible outcomes, didn't know exactly who to go with. So I played the most entries I've ever played, which is like 30. Usually I'm good with like 10 to 15. I can cover all my bases in just a few entries. I don't need millions of entries to be able to do what I need to do. And so yeah, I went to too many things that were shocking. Dude, like I said, Randy Brown took a loss. I think he's got a bright future. Alualu Bamboshe took a loss. I think he's got a very bright future. He is a completely unique striker. Like, you never see. If he would have hit Ferreira with that Mortal Kombat uppercut, man, that would have been all over Vine and everything. I hope he hits that on somebody one day, because that is completely crazy. But the winning lineup was 499 points. It consisted of Dotson, Chiesa, Graves, Ponzinibbio, and Teixeira. So, like I said, you couldn't have done the top-heavy roster construction and gotten any better than, like, probably, probably 40th or 50th place or something like that. Like, you couldn't have got all the people on your roster that you needed to be successful if you went with Dotson and Nurmagomedov. You just wouldn't have got up there. So you could have went with Dotson or Nurmagomedov, but you couldn't have done both. So yeah, I had the right ideas, I had the right strategy, and I think I saw the outcome of Chiesa and Dariush right down the middle. I just didn't think, even if Chiesa gets to a dominant grappling position, he's not going to choke out Dariush, is he? So I don't know, man. It bees like that sometimes in the world of mixed martial arts and trying to pick these perfect rosters. But I'm not disappointed in myself. I saw everything like it should. And better luck next week. I think next week is a lot. I like the pay-per-view cards because they're a lot more straightforward, a lot less volatile, you know. So I'm looking forward to the big $5 main event. I'm looking forward to that one. Looking forward to trying to take that home. Trying to get my edges. I've watched so many. I'm so familiar with the fighters now. Sometimes I see the matchup. I don't even need. I go back and I watch a little bit of the film, but I don't have to watch too much film. So I'm excited about this upcoming card because the fighters are more veterans, a lot less of the rookies and the newcomers and the unpredictable guys. Everything we know what we're getting for UFC. What is it? Is it 197 coming up? I think it is. John Jones versus Open St. Preux. I can't think of the number. So many numbers these days. But yeah, the big pay-per-views are a lot less volatile. That causes a lot more ties. But man, sometimes you can get an edge in them if you construct your rosters right. So yeah, I didn't have a lot of regrets. I had good success, not good enough to do well on a card with that many finishes. But I'll talk to you guys next week. And remember, donate to my cartoon. All right, guys. See you later.